right, welcome back to another edition of Night of the Shield. My name is Jason Smith, aka the Oakland Knight, and tonight we got some stuff to talk about tonight, man. I'm pretty excited. I've been kind of mulling over it all day long. I get really antsy lately to be able to come back here, even if it's in my living room, and put something together for y'all, man. Just talk some football, not X's and O's, not X's and O's. I'm not here to talk X's and O's tonight. I'm just here to talk a little bit of just basic logic. Just let's think some things out. I said yesterday, we were talking yesterday, and I was talking about what this team has done collectively, right? And I said that if there's a head coach out there that is interested in becoming the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, you would have to think that they would be excited to do so. There's plenty of talent on this football team. There's some growing pains. There's some things that need to be fixed. There's some things that need to be adjusted. And then, today when I'm at work, the reports come out that, Jim Harbaugh might be interested. And, people are like, it's a rumor. I mean, it was reported on the NFL level and on the college level. And it doesn't matter. You're going to hear a bunch of names flying around right now. But here's what got me excited and got me thinking. Number one, I talked about this last night that, I personally believe that coaches like Peterson and Bowles and Harbaugh, you better believe that they're interested in who wouldn't be? Think about that for a second. There's a lot of things that need to be settled, right? There's some contracts that have to be given out to a certain degree. Like I said, I don't want to get into all that. We'll get into that. Let's let the season play out. Let things kind of develop a little bit. But this team has all the intangibles, man. They have minus the unpopular belief out there is we don't have a quarterback, but we do. Even if Harbaugh was to come in here and say this is a stopgap quarterback for himself, if this is his Alex Smith 2.0, he's a better Alex Smith 2.0, right? He's better than Alex Smith. He's above a game manager, hands down. So that's a plus right there. So Harbaugh comes in, he keeps Carr, he goes and drafts his future and what have you, whatever. As a fan, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, we don't make these decisions. But anyway, I don't want to get off the rails again. But then that got me thinking, because I think I put it in a message to Graphic on one of his shows a few weeks ago when Harbaugh's name actually first kind of emerged. Someone had brought it up. And I said, wouldn't it be cool to grab a Vic Fangio? So I decided, you know what, before I came on here, actually, I was like, I know the Broncos have been struggling. I know he's the head coach, right? So I went ahead and I Googled Vic Fangio. And, there's reports coming out of Denver. The fans are unhappy. He's on the hot seat. Nothing in writing, nothing clear, nothing to say that he will be fired. But I guess the potential's there. I don't know. We'll see what Elway decides to do over there in Denver. But, again, this is a guy that was a defensive coordinator over there with Jim Harbaugh. And, like Jim Harbaugh, if you go back, Stanford, successful, Niners, successful, and Michigan, successful. Vic Fangio has that same kind of forte, right? He's been successful with his defenses. He had a good defense in Chicago, and Denver's defense plays really strong. So, again, I challenge anybody to say, would you rather have Vic Fangio or Gus Bradley? If you like that prevent style defense, that bend don't break, whatever, then more power to you. But for me, I want to play some real hard nosed defense, and I think we have the players to a certain degree. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not going to say that the players here, especially from the linebacker position, are what Vic Fangio would want. We'd have to wait and see. But here's the thing. People were bringing up, talking about, his falling out with the Niners. His falling out with the Niners, it wasn't so much a Harbaugh versus York situation. It got that way at the end. It was more about Harbaugh versus Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke was the GM over there. Trent Baalke, in my opinion, even back in if you talk to, I know Niner fans. I'm from the Bay, dude. I know Niner fans, okay? Like, I'm telling you, like, nobody liked Trent Baalke. People would have rather had Harbaugh. But for whatever reason, Belkey was a York dude. Again, I'm not a Niner fan. I don't follow the Niners hard enough to tell you exactly why that relationship was so strong. But even after Harbaugh left, it was more obvious that the Yorks made the wrong call. They should have kept Harbaugh and got rid of Belkey. Belkey ended up getting fired anyway. Then I was watching a show. It was with Stuart Schweigert and Graff, and Stuart had his friend Uchi, who actually was an offensive lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I like listening to podcasts. I like listening to these YouTube type videos. I love listening to sports stuff. I don't care what it is. I like the guy. I like the way he talks. I like his show. Been watching the show. I like it. Trent Baalke is the GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and nobody likes him there either. Now, I just read a report that they're bringing him back anyway. Trent Baalke is going to be the GM for the Jaguars next year as well. Whatever. I mean, the guy has a way of just holding on to his jobs, I suppose. But, so don't think that Harbaugh's departure from the NFL was necessarily his choice. And he did have something going over there. He lost control of that football team. And I kind of remember vaguely that was one of the reasons that really kind of set Harbaugh off, was like totally took the power out from under Harbaugh and kind of made Harbaugh the issue. It got really ugly, and he ended up leaving because Michigan offered him. This is alma mater. I mean, that's why his name was brought up in the Bears. He was a Bear quarterback. He played for Chicago. He's played for Indy, Baltimore, San Diego Chargers at the end. And Harbaugh was a successful dude, the original Captain Comeback. And, his stint as a coach, I mean, you can't deny that this guy obviously knows what he's doing. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I'm a little concerned over status of what that's going to look like, because we're a team that's fairly vulnerable. I think I heard somebody mention that, somebody didn't want a coach coming in wanting to take advantage of our owner. Gruden did not take advantage of our owner. Like, Mark Davis has flat out said, hey, not a football dude. He wants to bring football guys, football minds in. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I almost think it's needed. I think that's what John Gruden's strength was for this organization, because I think he did bring, wasn't perfect, but he did bring a sense of balance to this organization from a football perspective. It was the closest thing that we had to Al since Al's departure, in my opinion. I don't believe McKenzie understood his role. I think he did to a certain. I think he tried to be more than he should have been. Bringing in such a young head coach just so he could have control. He wasn't behind the Jack Del Rio hiring, and it wasn't meshing there either. John Gruden comes in. The rest is history. So I think John Harbaugh can bring that same type of mentality, and I might have just a little bit of concern there when it comes to that, but not a whole lot. But you guys tell me in the comment section down below, what do you guys think, man? Do you guys think that Harbaugh would be a good fit, especially if we were to see Vic Fangio get let go from the Denver Broncos, and we had an opportunity to put that duo back together? We would still have to address what's going to happen with the offense as far as play calling and system and things like that. But I think having a guy like Jim Harbaugh, a quarterback's type of coach, again, like John Gruden, but a little different, known to be hard-nosed too, and then a Vic Fangio type of personality who's, again, runs a pretty tight ship. He plays good, he puts together some good defensive schemes. I'm intrigued by that. Now, again, the whole Vic Fangio is my own speculation type thing I'm throwing out there at you guys tonight. But honestly, Jim Harbaugh, I think I can get behind something like that. But again, we'll have to let this all play out and see what happens. As far as one thing I want to touch more on that too is the Bisaccia stuff. People are saying now, which I find extremely comical, right? People are saying now, hey, maybe we should give this guy another look. What he's been able to do. 3 weeks ago, we wanted the guy fired. Now we were calling him names. He was too quiet. He still, to this day, he inherited a pretty solid structured franchise. John Gruden really had his X's and O's down, and those pieces were still there, right? If Gus Bradley head coach experience. That was his defense, right? You know, he's doing his thing. Greg Olson, you could tell that there was some struggle there. Calling plays still kind of is, in my opinion. It took a while for that to kind of get going a little bit. I think that's one of the biggest differences we're seeing. But Bisaccia as a motivator, as a leader, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like downgrade the guy and say he's horrible. I'm just saying at 60 some odd years old, I don't think he's the answer. I think if you have the opportunity to land a Jim Harbaugh or even a Todd Bowles type figure, or even maybe, you know, somebody who has a different type of pedigree behind him, you have to really consider that over Bisaccia. I'm sorry. We can't change our minds regardless if we make the playoffs or not. I just don't see Bisaccia being the future for this franchise right now. Just don't. In fact, it probably concerns me more than not. So that's just my 2 cents I want to throw into that conversation. Now, one thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, reported today, they expect Waller back. And we kind of talked about this yesterday too. Darren Waller being available. Should Darren Waller play? The bottom line is we need Darren Waller. We need Darren Waller probably a lot more than Darren Waller needs us at this point. And this is going to turn out to be one of the most interesting stories of the offseason, because to me, it just if it smells like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck, right? And that's, I don't know, there's just something's not sitting right with me. If you hear Bisaccia talk, and he was talking about, oh yeah, we're expecting him back, then the COVID thing, but he has to, you know, he started bringing up, oh, he has to go do this cardio thing and have his heart checked, and, you know, yada, yada, yada in the third. I've never heard any other coach or Bisaccia at that say that about any other football player on this team. And that basically told me that he was just basically sitting there saying, like, I really don't know, guys. I'm going to just come up with this excuse right now because, honestly, I don't know if the guy's going to take the field. Now, the question really becomes, is it become a Raider issue at this point? Is it still a Clutch Sports Waller issue? At the end of the day, look, we have a chance to make the playoffs. Probably the biggest game that we've seen since 2016. And this is an opportunity for Waller to come out, own the Chargers, and regardless if he gets a contract and wants to stay here or not, this is an opportunity for him to get paid. And whether it's by us or somebody else, right? This is where players play big. And I think he set himself up really good for this moment. You know, if he is trying to play himself out of or put himself in a position to get out of Las Vegas or create a payday, this is where you show your value and your worth to this football team, or you show the rest of the league that this is what you'll get if you trade for me, which either way, I think we're the winners in this situation when you think about it. And I'm going to say this about Waller too. And a lot of you may or may not agree with this. You saw what Zay Jones did last week, so you know what he's capable of anyway. You know, not every wide receiver, even the greats, are not going to come out and consistently put over 100 yards every game. You know, what Zay Jones was able to do last week is going to bring more attention to him in the Chargers, which is a good thing for the Raiders. It's a good thing for Renfro, right? Because Renfro was that target. Now he's got Zay Jones stepping up his game. They have to respect Zay Jones, his speed, and his ability to break tackles and make plays down the field. So that's a good thing. Adding Waller to that mix is only going to make us more efficient. But Foster Moreau, with the right opportunities, he's never going to be the size and the speed and the playmaker that Darren Waller is. But it's the tight end position. If you could tell me, if you could say we could substitute Waller for Devontae Adams, and if that ends up maybe one of the scenarios we talk about in the next few weeks, right? I say we get more out of Devontae Adams. We would get more out of a wide receiver than we do Darren Waller. Just my opinion, because Foster Moreau as a tight end can still get up the seam. And I'm going to be honest with you. There's been some talks about Waller and where he sits as a tight end in the National Football League. If it's, you got Kelsey and you got Kittle and you got all these weapons out there, right? And we put him top 3, top 4, definitely top 5. And I still say that to be true. But I think what we saw this year in the opportunities, because Carr force-fed the man. You know, Carr, whether he was told to force-feed the man or he just knew he had to force feed the man. Waller didn't really. I've never seen Waller just take one to the house like I see Kelsey do or Kittle do, right? I'm just putting that out there. Like, so Waller is a playmaker. Waller is a beast. Waller is a guy I would like to see in this offense, but I don't think he's the focal point of this offense, or should he be? You know, I still think that should be a wide receiver number one. And if we can keep Waller around and still get Devontae Adams, and you pair that up, Adams, Waller, Renfro, and throw like a Zay Jones, what Zay Jones has been able to do, I say more power to us, right? But if we had to sacrifice something, I think Waller at this point is sacrificial. But, you know, with that said, I'm saying all that to say Waller needs to play this weekend for himself. If it's not for us making the playoffs or whatever his intentions and motivations are, Waller should play simply based off the fact that this is going to get him paid either by us or by somebody else. And we went out of the thing too, because either we can pay the man and we have a talent of his caliber, or his trade value just goes up more, right? Like, you can have a difference maker like Darren Waller on your team. Just give us first-round picks, right? Anyway, outside of that, heading into this weekend's matchup against San Diego, I don't know. There's a lot I have to say about it. I think I'm going to wait so I can have some content for later on in the week. But I wanted to jump on, and I got excited. I got excited to hear, because it just kind of backed up what I was talking about when it comes to this football team and what it's been able to do the last 3 weeks. Win, lose, or tie this weekend, I think they showcased the spirit of the players on this football team, the talent on this football team. It needs some work. It's not perfect. But if you're a head coach out there, someone with some really good resumes and cred, some good street cred, some good coaching street cred, and you want to come out here and you want an opportunity to get back in the league, if you're Jim Harbaugh, okay, because that's the topic of tonight. If you're Jim Harbaugh and you were pushed out of San Francisco, wrongly in my opinion, wrongly, that should have been the GM, right? If you were pushed out the way that you were, and you were going to look for an opportunity to come back, redeem yourself, have another chance of winning the Super Bowl, this ain't a bad roster. It's not a bad roster. It's not a bad gig. You got draft coming in your city, a lot of publicity there. You got the Super Bowl coming the following year. Like, dude, this is insane. This is insane. It's a great opportunity for anybody. And like I said, you don't have to be Jim Harbaugh, but it's an interesting move. It's an interesting name to pop up and actually have some credit behind it this time. But anyway, if you're new here, please hit that notification bell, the subscribe button, hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think about Harbaugh. Tell me what you think about Vic Fangio. Should Waller play? Kind of know the answer to that already, but you can leave that in the comment section as well. And that's all I have for tonight, Nation. And I will talk to you guys soon. And until next time, y'all stay Raider strong. I'm out. Peace.